Iron Man 2 is directed by Jon Favreau with the screenplay by Justin Theroux, starring Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Don Cheadle, Scarlett Johansson, Sam Rockwell, Mickey Rourke, and Samuel L. Jackson. With the world now aware that he is Iron Man, billionaire inventor Tony Stark faces pressure from all sides to share his technology with the military. He is reluctant to divulge the secrets of his armored suit, fearing the information will fall into the wrong hands. With Pepper Potts and Rhodey Rhodes by his side, Tony must forge new alliances and confront a powerful new enemy. Iron Man 2 is the third entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And like the first Iron Man film, Iron Man 2 looks pretty good. It looks just as good as the first Iron Man film. There's really nothing more I can say about how this film looks. So, moving on to another thing about this film, I suppose. Ramin Djawadi does not return to do the film score for Iron Man 2, and this film's music is composed by John Debney. And I find the soundtrack to this film to be on par with the first Iron Man film, and that's fine. And also, AC/DC was getting talked about when this film came out, and that's because they provided a couple of songs of their own for this film, and that would be Shoot to Thrill and Highway to Hell. And seriously, who can go wrong with AC/DC? Their music kicks ass, and I love that group as well as millions of others. And now that I'm doing album reviews, I'm thinking about talking about AC/DC someday. But that will have to wait until I'm done talking about Radiohead and a couple of other groups that I have lined up to review, so someday. The overall acting in Iron Man 2, in my opinion, is just as good as the acting in the first Iron Man film. Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow are just as good as before. Now, as for the character of James Rhodes, Terrence Howard did not return to play that character. So from Iron Man 2 onwards, James Rhodes is played by Don Cheadle, who I think is an excellent actor. Now, I'm not saying Terrence Howard is a bad actor. I think he is just as good as an actor as Don Cheadle. But as a replacement actor, Don Cheadle just plays the character very well. I really believe the character, and that's just because Don Cheadle is, like I said, a good actor. This film also has Scarlett Johansson in it. And after seeing her in action in this film, she can whoop my ass any day. What? What's wrong with a guy like me thinking happy thoughts about an actress like her, dressed in black, beating the shit out of me? Besides, the film I'm going to be talking about after this one has a certain villain, Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston. And I know there's plenty of fangirls out there that love to think about Loki pretty much most of the time whenever the Marvel Cinematic Universe gets talked about. And also, I think Tom Hiddleston is just as much as a sex symbol as Scarlett Johansson is, so it's fair game on both sides. Sam Rockwell is fine in this film, and Mickey Rourke is both badass and sometimes funny. And also, I give Mickey Rourke special props with his Russian accent. Although, there is one scene that I giggle sometimes because of how Mickey Rourke says, "I want my bird." I don't know, it just makes me giggle. And of course, Samuel L. Jackson is great to see in this film, and like I said before, the overall acting to Iron Man 2 is just as good as the acting in the first Iron Man film. The characters are hit and miss, but I do like how Tony Stark is played out in this film. Now, there is a character that I was glad to see get a piece of the action, and that would be James Rhodes. Now, in my review of the first Iron Man, I did say that how James Rhodes was played out was serviceable. It was nice to see James Rhodes being more involved with the action scenes. So this is something I really liked about the character of James Rhodes for Iron Man 2. I have 5 words for you. Natasha kicks ass. Enough said. As for Nick Fury, I understand he doesn't have a whole lot of screen time in this film, but I do find his role important considering this point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, there are 2 characters that I had a problem with in this film, and that would be Whiplash and Justin Hammer. Now, as badass as Whiplash was at times, I found his writing to be a huge missed opportunity. Now, I do understand the motivations of Whiplash, but they did come off as forced to me. And I really wish Whiplash had more of a presence in the film to be, a standout villain. And I found Justin Hammer to be a forgettable villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which leads me to the biggest problem I have with this film, and that is the overall plot. Now, I do like how they show the consequences of Tony Stark revealing that he's Iron Man, because that's when Whiplash decided that he's going to plot some kind of revenge against Tony Stark. Now, there's other things that are going on, but they don't really add up. Now, I know there are people out there that really did not like Iron Man 2, but you know what? I actually consider this film underrated. Now, sure, I just said that the biggest problem I have with this film was the plot, but I really don't have much more to say because there's really not much with the plot that really needs to be said. There are things that happen, and there are just things that don't add up. And what this film really comes down to is that it's essentially filler. And yes, it does tease a couple of things, but again, it doesn't have a whole lot of substance when compared to the first Iron Man film and even The Incredible Hulk. Overall, Iron Man 2 is shot pretty well, has entertaining action scenes, a fitting soundtrack, some good characters, some not, and a plot that really doesn't add a whole lot to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and yet it's just there. Now, I do consider this to be an underrated entry because I really don't hate this film that much like some people do, but I do agree that it's nowhere as good as the first Iron Man film. Iron Man 2 gets a 7. If you like this review, feel free to hit the like button. And if you want to follow my channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button. And as always, you're welcome to leave me a comment if you feel so inclined. And thanks for watching. My Marvel Cinematic Universe marathon will continue with Thor. And if you are aware of my Radiohead marathon, that marathon will continue eventually. It's just that I want to put more time and focus on my Marvel Cinematic Universe marathon because of the release of Captain America Civil War, since it was released 2 weeks ago at the time that I am posting this review. I am also aware that Radiohead released their newest album, A Moon-Shaped Pool, 2 days after Captain America Civil War came out, which is obvious why I'm doing these 2 marathons in the first place. Now, I will work hard to get all these reviews out as soon as possible. It's just that I ask for patience because I know this is going to take some time, and I really want to get to talking about Captain America Civil War and A Moon-Shaped Pool by Radiohead. That's really the goals I'm trying to meet with these 2 marathons. So, until then, I will see you in the next review.